I wish people understood that, I mean, we generally don't like the fact that there are pedophiles either. Like, we didn't ask for this. It's something that a lot of people will be more comfortable ignoring, but when it's you, it's not really an option to ignore it.
This is David. He's known as a non-offending pedophile, someone who has a romantic and sexual attraction to kids, but says he's never abused a child. He wants help, but getting it in the US is risky.
When I was figuring this stuff out about myself, I decided that I couldn't tell anybody because I was pretty certain that at best they would like desert me and just like I'd lose a friend or whatever, and at worst like they'd tell absolutely everybody, and I'd be like,
it'd be dangerous for you.
It would be dangerous.
Oof. Oof. Already that intro, man. Mm-hmm. That's some very dark, deep thing, you know. And yeah, look, the first thing that came to my mind is they said non-offensive, right?
Yeah, non-offending.
Okay, non-offending. So he doesn't have a record for doing that.
Yeah, he's admitting his desire, and
he just wants help.
Yeah, he doesn't actually want that desire.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the first time I hear the term non-offending pedophile YouTube guys. But years ago, if I'm not mistaken, it's just long ago, so I don't know, I can't even trust my memory a bit. But in the early 2000s, I think there were pedophiles on Oprah, or One or something, and the guy had himself castrated, maybe chemically, or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
To kill his desires.
Yeah, to kill his desires. And I remember it struck me at the time like, that means he can't help himself, and he's cognizant of that, and he's doing something to prevent. So yeah, I don't think it was called non-offending or whatever at the time. I can't remember what the show was about, but that was the first time I thought to myself, okay, fine. Like considering, like looking at this whole thing from a different perspective, because I think usually you kind of look at this whole thing like, it's just some sicko. Yeah. Like there's women out here, why don't you just, do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, definitely not condoning that action.
Of course.
But actually, I believe him.
And in fact, this is where it comes through where they say in certain countries, they would register, if you are an offender, they put you on the offenders list. And then people within the vicinity, if you live somewhere, they have to be informed that there is a P word within the vicinity that stays around. Yeah. And then our kids, we need to keep safe. They shouldn't be near that place. Yeah. Which is logical, if you ask me. Obviously, you want your kids to be safe. Right? Now, the flip side is that there hasn't been an offense yet.
Yeah, in this case. And basically where this is going is they're trying to sell that idea that as a society, we need to deal with prevention rather than the measures we're taking after the fact.
Oh, okay. Like castigating them or like shunning.
Yeah, shunning, which I can see the wisdom in that.
Okay. In a liberal, justice, democratic society. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
We've never thought about non-offending pedophiles. We focused all of our resources on after-the-fact interventions. How do we punish? How do we surveil? How do we keep track of sex offenders? What we need are interventions that can target the vast majority of sex crimes that can be prevented.
Dr. Letourneau is one of few researchers in the U.S. focusing on preventive measures to help pedophiles. But getting them treatment is tough. Mandatory reporting laws in America require that therapists alert authorities when they suspect a pedophile is at risk of abusing a child.
If you are someone that has an attraction and you go to a therapist and you say, I have these attractions for young people, what could happen?
Any number of things could happen. Even if you've never offended, if you're sexually interested in children, you reach out to a therapist for help, they may decide that you still represent a threat and that their concerns meet the threshold for a mandatory report. I know of a child who's at the age of 50.
By the way, it just made me think of something. A therapist is supposed to be that confidentiality between two people, right? That it doesn't leave. It's a safe space, right?
Yeah, like a priest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking about it. Let's remove the PE file, right? And let's put in something else, right? Like, you've seen Dexter, right? The concept of Dexter.
No.
Okay, Dexter's a serial killer, right? He's a serial killer.
Yeah.
He has urges to kill, but he in order to make sure that he doesn't go on a killing spree, he kills serial killers. So morally, is that right? But it's still murder.
Yeah.
You see,
It's vigilantism. You can't just...
exactly. You're taking the law into your own hands.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking with a therapy situation in that case, a person who has an urge to just end people. For example, the first thing that a therapist should do, if the person says, I have these urges to just slash people, obviously these are red flags. She's going to be calling the authorities because she might be preventing a murder. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with this as well, you can also view it in the same light.
Yeah.
That they are sounding the alarm first to say, you haven't done it before, but just in case you do.
Yeah, but I'm not blaming our society for doing that.
Yes.
Children are precious. And so
Yeah.
we've taken this approach, a harsh one, a hardline approach,
Yeah, which is justified.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. But as I'm saying, and again, I'm not a pedophile apologist or a defender. But what I'm trying to say is that I can see the wisdom in this. It's like this is a very embarrassing problem to admit to.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it's a very embarrassing one. I mean, yeah. So if somebody has the guts to actually isn't the right thing to help them? Okay, let's help you not offend, and let's put you before things go. You know, let's do everything to make sure. You know, so yeah.
And the judgment behind it, it's one of those things that are very, very it's
So hey man, no power to anybody can actually admit such a feeling.
It's not like alcoholism, like it's nothing like that, because you are talking about something that could intentionally, possibly harm other people in society. And it's the fear against it. Again, you ought to sound the red alarm, just in case.
Yeah.
But again, maybe these measures are actually going to help prevent those cases.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll have to hear more, but so far it makes sense to me, and perhaps society should reconsider, maybe there should be reform in this area, how we treat such people.
All right, let's hear.
Teen disclosed to his school guidance counselor that he had sexual interest in young children and he wanted some help and support around that. He got kicked out of school, and they assumed, as many people do assume, that someone with sexual interest in children, that they cannot control themselves, that they will just reach out and grab the first child they see off the street and rape that child. And that's not true.
This is a PSA you're not likely to see in the U.S.
Do you like children in ways you shouldn't? There is help.
The campaign was produced by Prevention Project Dunkelfeld, one of the only places in the world that offers therapy to pedophiles.
We do not have these mandatory report laws as you have in the United States.
Yes.
This is an obstacle for prevention work because nobody would show up.
Since 2005, about 10,000 people in Germany have reached out to Dunkelfeld for help.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. 10,000, that's a huge number. So again, it goes back to what we were talking about. If these 10,000 people didn't reach out, what would have happened?
Yeah.
Like, what would the stats be behind the pedophile offenses?
Yeah. So it's like I keep reiterating, I see the wisdom in what they're trying to do and trying to push.
Okay.
conversion therapy? Are you trying to cure these people?
No, it's not possible to change sexual orientation. I never would try that.
So are you saying that pedophilia is a sexual orientation?
Exactly. We have a lot of sexual minorities, and this is all part of this huge variety. So nobody chooses this. And as long as
Well, now we've hit our first little hurdle in this discussion. I have to say, okay, I agree with what he's saying, but I've got a concern because of the world we live in today and the political climate of certain things that have been happening.
Yes.
You see, once we get an acceptance, and it's a sexual orientation, they can't help it. Ooh, really?
It's a very gray. No, it's been turned into a gray area, if you ask me.
I'm afraid that, as I said, I'm for society rethinking these things in a certain destigmatization of the whole thing. But I don't think our society, the way it's handling other things today, is going to handle that in the correct manner.
Yeah.
That's the problem. 10 years ago, I think everybody knew what a woman was. Today, it's up for debate for some weird reason.
Well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology, is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman?
Well,
can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't.
Is it possible 10 years from now, it's going to be up for debate whether an adult and a child can be in a relationship or not?
Whew. Like, I wouldn't be surprised the way the world is going.
You see what I'm saying? That's like my only concern. That's where I'm a little.
But it could lead to things that we like if you let it creep in through the door, right?
Given there's a certain group, we know them. You give them an inch, they take a mile.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's something that that started off as a preventative measure.
Yes, a good thing.
A good thing, yeah.
A good thing, a progressive thing,
yeah,
can descend into some other kind of chaos now. And then 10 years from now, and who's going to suffer? The kids are going to suffer, you know? And then 10 years from now, when we start to speak sense, try to speak sense or pull it back a bit, they're not going to be called words that end with ist or obia at the end.
Hey, you took the words out of my mouth, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard. I just don't trust our society to handle it well, to do it correctly. Though I agree, I think some reform in this area
is needed.
Is probably a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so yeah.
Right.
Not would act out. It would be very, very inhuman to judge such a person. And I would always vote to integrate him in society.
Dr. Bauer estimates that 1% of the population is pedophilically inclined, and nearly all of them are men, but not all of them offend. Dunkelfeld's treated about 1,700 since it opened.
And what does this treatment look like?
It's a kind of cognitive behavioral treatment running to all the risky situations, and then we will train him to change his behavior in these situations. The other one would be pharmaceutical options. We can lower sexual urges with very effective drugs. So if it's...
Is that like chemical castration?
It's like chemical castration, yeah.
How many people have gone through this program and have not offended?
Nearly all of them.
How do you measure that?
By just giving taking the answers of them. It's subject.
Oh, so they tell you?
Yes.
Doctor, is that if you're just relying on them to tell you that they didn't act out as the only measurement of success for this program, is that enough?
As long as we do not have any other measurements, and we are working on this.
Like, I just thought of another analogy. Like, you know, you've got a cub, a lion cub, right? You know, this cub eventually is going to be inclined to eat meat. Not just chicken meat, any type of meat. And you are meat. Okay?
Yeah.
So you will you will feed it milk and whatever until it grows up, and then, just because you raised it does not mean you are not part of that menu or buffet. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if this animal isn't trying to eat meat, eventually it will eat meat.
Yeah.
So I hear what this guy is asking. How do you measure that? This lion hasn't eaten like a chicken but just kept quiet. You get what I'm saying? Or ate a person and just kept quiet.
Yeah.
How do you measure that? You know, which is a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good
because
question.
because you cannot trust human nature to their own vices and say, because it's like an alcoholic, right? Because they went through a program, no, they're fine. They're not gonna go to a bottle store or be tempted to drink. And in fact, if they lapse, do you think they're gonna tell you they lapsed?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's very wishy-washy way.
Yeah.
However, I appreciate the attempt of what they're trying to do.
I get what you're saying.
They need to work on some kind of a better
That's
way.
a bit naive for the doctor to just say.
Yeah, and I think also his face told it all as well. That he also knows the issue.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit.
Yeah, we could have added something, but he's like, no, this is what we have for now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were born this way?
Basically, yes. Just imagine to feel whatever you may feel for women or men, to feel that romance and sexual attraction, just not to adults, but to kids.
Max, that's tough, man.
I know.
When did you realize that you were attracted to kids?
It was around 20. It kind of shattered my whole self-image. I didn't know at that point that there was a way out.
In 2006, Max went to Dunkelfeld for a year of treatment.
Is there something you tell yourself when you see a young girl that you're attracted to?
In therapy, I learned some strategies to make myself realize that what I'm feeling is very different from what the girl is feeling. I've arrived in my development at the point where I feel mostly completely normal about kids like other people would. I obviously still have the attraction, but it's on the background.
Do you think you deserve the same rights as adults who are attracted to adults?
If you exclude having sex with kids, yes.
So you should be able to live where you want to live and work where you want to work, even if it's at a preschool or elementary school?
Basically, yes. Because everything else would constitute something like thought control.
What does...
That's my second disagreement. Everything you said as far as having rights and everything, I'm for that. But my G, you still cannot work with children.
No.
I don't care what you say. That's like hiring. If you had a liquor store, would you knowingly hire an alcoholic to work the cashier? One day they're gonna relapse. You're gonna find them on the floor. They're in the.
It's the same analogy.
Yeah, dog. No, dog. Not. And that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah.
Once a movement can gain some momentum, all of a sudden now they're gonna be fighting for the rights. We can still. I still want to be a primary school teacher. It's my passion, dude. Your passion is gonna have to go to the side, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's where we said
don't tempt it. You know, so we're willing to help you and everything, but don't tempt. We're not gonna put you in front of kids 24/7. That makes no sense. So. Oh, and you remember as well. There's that term MAPS.
No.
Minor attracted people.
Oh, so it's a new abbreviation.
Yeah. So there's already kind of a rebranding happening.
Oh my word.
And again, can we find ourselves 10 years from now that using the P word is bigoted and I'm just guys,
guys, this is a very touchy subject, but please let us know what you guys think. and be honest about it, you know, like, because we are living in very tough times right now. But at the same time, yeah, this is the reality of the world we live in. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Check you on the next one. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.